Hello, welcome to CG. Today I am going to show you a cool add-on for Blender. It's named Facebuilder, and you can see it can create a pretty realistic face without using any modeling technique. So currently it is free, and I am going to show you how to install that things. So you have to go to Ken Tools Facebuilder. It is based for Nuke and Blender, and they have pretty demo for that. And as you can see, you can use a single photograph to create a pretty realistic face. And also I created a previous tutorial based on this plugin, and I made some mistake. That is why I'm recreating this tutorial. So you can create any kind of face from child, baby to the old one, anything. So you can select only the parts you need. So where to get that? You have to go to Blender, and you can download free open beta. It's beta stage, so you can download free and you can use it for commercial purpose. But once it is getting to the final production ready plugin, it will be payable. So you need to pay something around, I think it will be same as for Blender also. So you can, it's the same thing. You have to download here. You go to download Facebuilder for Blender. So you need to download free open beta. It will be downloaded as a zip file, and in the Blender you need to go to edit preferences, add-ons. You need to install add-ons. So there will be you have to go to the download folder. So where is it? It's in the downloads. As you can see, there is the Ken Tools for Blender zip. Install the add-ons. So it will install, and you have to be connected to the internet if you need to download something. So in order to use this plugin, you need to enable it, and see there is an error showing that we cannot ship our core library with our add-on due to Blender license limitations. So I have to install it manually or install it online. So if you download that plugin and also from the core library, you can download, and if you want to install in another computer, you can download this and install in another computer. But if you are using the same computer where you download, there is no need to download the core library separately. So in the Blender itself, just accept the license and install online. So it will take a little time, so you can check nightly build, latest stable build. So I'm using the latest stable build. Press OK, and there is a little time for downloading. Just wait the download to finish. Okay, now we are ready to go for face tool use inside Blender. So this is a simple scene file created, and actually the Facebuilder tool, I will show you how this works. So in order to use, I will use a new scene file, new, don't save. So you have to delete all this. We don't need this. So delete the default cube and light and camera, and you can see there is a little arrow. You can either expand it, or you can press V or V in the keyboard to sorry, not V, you have to use the keyboard N for expanding this whatever you call the panel. So use that, and there is something called Facebuilder. You can see, click that, and there will be the Facebuilder version. Which version are you using? And you can press that. That will be the settings. So first press create a new head. It will create a default head, and please make sure that you cannot use your own head model. That is the current limitation of the Facebuilder plugin. So you have to use the mesh installed with this plugin, and if you click that, you will get a pretty nice head with pretty much good topology, and this is a little bit higher mesh, but in order to work this plugin, you have to use the same head. So don't worry, we will use this head and we will manipulate it accordingly. So there will be some camera settings. In the previous video I made some mistake with the camera settings, so do not change anything here. We will discuss that. The Facebuilder tool will work with the add image tool. You need to get at least 7 different images in order to work this tool. So there will be you need to download you need to whatever you call, go to help. So there is a Facebuilder tool for NeoGate. So either you have to capture your own photos or any of photos, so that will be very necessary. So at least they are saying that you need at least 7 photos in the different directions, or even you can use a single image. I used a single image in my previous tutorial. That is pretty nice, but if you want a pretty good realistic head based on your photo, you have to take at least 7 different photos. So they say we recommend starting with 3 by 4 or front view. We will start with that. That means you need at least front view, a side view, a 3/4 view, and a little down and little up. That means you need at least 7 different kind of photos. So you can see that they are showing some kind of information here. So before doing that, you can either use your mobile phone or camera and fix it in a tripod and just rotate yourself and capture different photos. Make sure do not change the zoom and focal length. So that is very, very important. You have to keep it steady all for the photos. And if you don't have photo, you can download it here. So I used some photos from the internet, but actually the Ken tools actually providing the examples file. So you can go to examples, you can download any photos you want. So this head has some different photos, and I can show you a thing that all installed inside. I already downloaded all those things, all those photos. So either you can use this one, or maybe this one. So I'm going to use this one. So click that, it will download the all project file, but it is actually for new, but we are using the same data for building the face. So you have to load that images. So click that add images, and actually I already downloaded that images where it is in the downloads. And you can see actually I used this girl in the previous tutorial, but it has some limitations with just one photo. So I'm going to use the Ken tools TB Kyra something. So see, front little 3/4 and another area, side and left, right. So they provide actually 10 photos for this. You can actually at least you need to use at least 7 photos. I'm going to use all these photos. Click that and come here, open images. So that will add all the images here. Before jumping to the modeling section, we need to set the camera lens file, focal length and sensor width. So click the read EXIF data. So it will ask for which image you need to read the EXIF data. So click the first one. Unfortunately, these images is exported within some programs, so they won't provide the EXIF data. So I don't have EXIF data for these images, but if you are using from your camera or mobile phone, you will get actual focal length and sensor width information here. If you don't have, just click that focal length estimation, so it will automatically calculate, but it is not recommended for an accurate result. But I don't have this, so that is why I'm using this one. So you have all the 1, 2, 3 and up to 10 images. So based on these images, the Facebuilder already created some cameras. So you can see FB cam OBJ001. This corresponds for this image, and for 2 this will be the 2, and all this it all already created. So you first create, you click that 01. So you can see the actually it created like this. So for 01 it's FB cam OBJ, for 02 it's 001. So don't worry, we are not going to use any camera here now. We will only concentrate on this. So click on the first image. So there will be a default head. Before jumping into the modification, I will show one more thing. You see there are some settings here. Is reset camera, remove pins, and add image. If you have extra images, you can create that. And we this is the settings for the actual picture, and if you want, you can change it to use render size. That's not necessary. All these things is here. So in the camera, we are not going to change anything from here now. So and active data we also don't need. So there you can see a lot of settings here. You see the model, so you can change all these models. See, there is ears are separate. If you don't want, you can just turn it off. So all this, please remember that this head, actually this plugin is actually used for motion tracking in purpose. So you can see actually they use these tools within their another tool called geo tracker, face tracker, all these things. They used this Facebuilder build mesh for the face tracker plugin. So they can easily anyone can easily track the lip sync or anything they can use. That is why all these things are separate, and if you want, you can just hide the eyes. So if you don't need the eyes, head, back, face, all things are separate. So you can see the nose, jaw, everything separate. But I'm going to use the whole face as it is. And one more thing is the pins. So you can see there is a little information here. This is actually which image we are currently working on. So we are working on the 001 JPEG, and here is a little information shortcuts for, so you can press escape to exit the modeling view, and you can go back to the viewport. Left click within your mouse, create a pin, and right click delete that pin, and tab hide show. That means it will hide the mesh. So before jumping into you can use the default Blender shortcuts for zoom in. So control scroll the mouse to zoom in, zoom out, shift and middle click, you can pan. So it is very important. And also, if you don't want this color, you can change the wireframe color. So I don't like this color because it's all personal, and sometimes if you are using some kind of blackish guy, so this won't be visible. Or maybe if you use some another kind of model it has a lot of dark texture, so the dark color won't work. So you can change the color value according to your need. So maybe some brighter color. And also this one for here, you can change this also. So you can see it will mix the color for the wireframe. And also you can change some value here. You can see increase, decrease the brightness or the opacity. So keep it very light and visible according, it depends on your monitor and your eyesight. So if you have better vision, you can keep it very low, and you have very good monitor and the source image is very good, you can just keep it very low, and you can see how the mesh is aligned. And there is also, we can click the highlight head parts. If you don't need the head parts to be highlighted, you can just turn it off. That all depends on you how you want to work. And there is something called pin size and pin handle IDs we will discuss now. So in order to create and align this face, you have to create a pin. So it is recommended that you create a pin base of the nose first. So you can click left click, so you create a pin and it's red in color. So now you can change if you want. So that will change the pin size of, if you have very low resolution monitor, you can change and you can see how the pin works. And also the pin handle radius is also for there will be a radius, the handle will be created if you move these pins. So that all depends on all these things just for visualization purpose. This has nothing to do with modeling, so it won't change anything in the modeling. So you have to move this, click and drag, move, just position it near, just position where the nose starts. So we don't worry about the zoom and the rotation. Now we need to click another point here. So you can click which are called the corner of the eye, just move it here. So it's barely, I will increase this mesh so you can see what's clearly going on. So where is it? The wireframe value I will increase a little bit so you can see it in the in YouTube. So see, now I arranged this, and also you have to create another pin for this area and more little bit like so it roughly match the eye. So now we can rotate this see, now we created a pin and we can rotate according to this. So just Control Z. So we keep this, and now we just positioned and scaled our model. This actually, this is not really positioned based on our photo. So we need to create more pins. So we create another pin in the corner of the left eye. Create here. So slowly it's getting arranged. So here also it's roughly arranged, but I will create another one and just arrange. So there will be some settings you have to adjust, and maybe depending on the nose, so you can adjust all these things. And we need to create another corner pin here, face. So here also, now it's look arranged all this area, but still we need to create more pins. So it is very important you create another pin here, move the ears, and just roughly matched all this area. So you can, if you want, you can create a pin for the chin, but it's not recommended, but I will create another one. So it created, roughly created. Actually you need to create a pin here also in the ear region. So I will just undo this. Okay, so we need to create a pin here, and also we will move just like this. So it will arrange our pin also here. I will arrange. Okay, now we can arrange all these areas by using, so you can create a pin here also, and if you need you can just move a little bit here also, create. So this just we created our pin. Okay, just we already created, so you can move it and create a pin here in the lip, here also lip, and you can zoom, shift, middle mouse, and you can precisely place it. So don't create a lot of pins here, but also recommended here is to create a pin around this corner region of the nostrils. So you can adjust, so it's pretty adjusted here. Also you need to create a pin, and here you can adjust the width of this area. So you can just create a pin here, just move it. So undo, create. So we basically adjusted our pin, but you can see in the chin area there is a little bit adjustment needed. Okay, we will leave this area like this. So we created just a basic pin for our model, and also so this will happen if you click the alt and plus if you try to rotate. So if this happens, you can jump back by creating clicking that image. So you have to create another pin for this area also if you want. If you can leave it now as it like this, and you can pick it later, but I will create another 2 pins here so I can arrange the eyebrows. So I will move this a little bit here. This one is pretty nice, and move a little up here, also a little up here, just move here, also just move. So it is pretty aligned, but you can see the eyes we need to create a little bit adjustment also. So we'll click and arrange it here. This one also a little bit up, so her eyes is always aligned. And you can add more pin and try to adjust these ears and everything, but I'm not going to use. I'm not going to use that much details now. So and one more thing, if this one also can adjust here. So maybe undo here from here. Okay, and this area just, so this also adjust a little bit. You can have a little bit adjustment. So we just created some pin for our front face. I'll save this one. So I created already three heads. Maybe we'll rename this 4. Okay, now what we need is actually a little bit. Okay, what we need is we have to create similar pins for the another shape. So in the next camera there won't be any pins, but you can see a little bit purple color dots here. So these are the pins we created in this image. So we can get a reference point for where these pins are. So here you can see the nose, lips, chin and ears and all these areas. So this is very important. If you want to create a better looking model, you have to follow this pin. So click the same area, create a pen, click here, and I will just to reduce the opacity. Okay, so I can clearly see, and we just move our head here, and we need to do the same. So you can see the pin here. So just click, not exactly the same, but you can use the same as a reference point. See, now we created, and then this one area also change, try to match within this area. So here I match, but in this area it's not matched, but don't worry, we can just rotate here and it will look here also. So we don't have a pin for this area, so you can see this is actually, we can use that pin for reference, so the eyebrows follows. So this is a little bit different method, but you can use it as a reference. So I created, and see, we already can use this pin, but I'm going to leave this. So here is our lip and lip pin. Just move little bit here. So we don't have a lip pin for this, but you can see the chin, can move that also if you want. But this is not the real method, but you can see now we pretty much aligned our what you called our model head with this pin. And very important, you have to click here for this area, so you can move and you can make a corner for the ear, and also for this area you can click and move, so it will match with the alignment, so it will make a shape. So I'm not going to make exact shape for the ear now. And also you can create more pins and you can move her this area also. So we already matched some of the area, so you can create one, but it's actually pretty matched, but you can use if you want. See, so there will be a little adjustment for the eye region. If you want, you can create this, so it will match with the eye position. Here we don't create an eye position, but you can click and move it little bit for lower, and here also a little bit up. We cannot see where the eye region is, so I'm just clicking that and assuming it will go inside. Okay, now the problem is we don't have much details here, and we can click this region also, maybe in the edge we roughly match, and here just roughly match with the photograph. So, and here also little bit, so it follow the curve, and here little bit inside. So some area you need to create more pins. So we just created a basic setup here. Just leave it as now. We have to create more images, so you have to follow the same thing until you finish all this image. So I am going to skip all these things so you can watch. Okay, I just finished pinning all these images, so you can see. So I just basically pinned a lot of areas. So after finishing the pinning, the shape of the first pins or the first images will change a little bit. That is normal, but you can change that. And we will start with the first one. Sorry, once again. Start with the first one. So there will be a little bit adjustment needed, so we can change a little bit. So after creating a lot of pins, system won't work as expected because it will be very slow for Blender to handle all these pins. And I think all this area is pretty static. So you can see now it's very slow. So keep in mind that you need to make a little bit of pins. So you can see there need a little bit of adjustment here. So the ear, you can see there is a little a pin already created in some other camera, so you can match. Sorry, that would work. We'll create another pin here. Just move the contour. So the lip we need to create. If you want to create more pins, if you want the shape to be exactly the same, you can create and just align accordingly, and that's pretty good. If you want, you can create one more pin here, but just leaving this as much simple as possible. So you can create a pin for the chin area. Just move, and here also just move. This pretty stable. So you have to adjust the pins on different areas. We'll create a pin here. So the contour will roughly match with this area. Also you can create a pin a little down. And this pin. Okay, now we can create more pins to shape the ear. Move it inner. So I'm not going to match exactly the same, but so you can see a little bit heavy for now. This area you can add more pins and shape it, but that's not important. You can always change it later, so just move it a little bit only. Make the shape I think it's a little higher for here. Here also change it to, you can create a pin, so it will roughly match the contour. So if you are a face modeler or a character model, you can easily identify which area you need to create the pin. So I'm not that much in the modeling department, so I just roughly make this. Okay, so you can adjust here also in this area. Just move it, create another pin, move a little bit. Okay, so to just follow the section. Sometimes this will happen because the system is very heavy, so you have to be very careful once you load lot of pins in different camera angles, so things will be very messy, so that will be keep in mind. So it's just pretty simple, so we'll speed up the work now. Okay, I just finished tweaking all these images, so it is pretty almost good. So next step is we have to create the textures. Before that, I'm going to exit from the pin mode, so you can click exit and you can see a lot of cameras are arranged, and this will be the structure of the girl face. So you can see I think it's pretty similar. I'm not sure, but I did almost everything possible. So just click here. We can see the expand is just below the wireframe. That will be a texture. Click that. The texture, there will be a dimension to okay, you can increase or decrease depending on your need, and there will be how the UVs are going to align. I can use butterfly, legacy, spherical, max face. So I'm just leaving it at all default and butterfly, and there is will be a create texture box button, but before applying that we need to use this equalize brightness and equalize color. If you are not using constant lighting and the constant exposure for your camera or mobile, the lighting and the text color will vary depending on how you rotate the camera or the phone or the face. It will automatically adjust. So if you are not using the photoshopped image, you can just click that equalize color and equalize brightness and just create texture. So it will ask for all pins, so I will use all the pins, and you can use us automatically apply the create texture. So click that. So you can see there will be a little bit time. This only depending on how the texture, the image is going to transfer into the core library. So it's not depending on the how the UVs are aligned or how much dimension you apply for the UV mapping. It won't affect that much. It only affect how the pins and how the image and how the camera is projected. So it will take a little bit time. As you can see now, it's created the texture, and I think it's almost same for the girl. See, there is a little bit misalignment in the texture region, so you can fix that in Photoshop or a GIMP, whichever image application you can use. Some areas, but it's pretty good. So some areas you can paint, and you need to add the hair. If you can model it, the hair, or you can model, or you can use the actual hair geometry, and you can create eyebrows and geometry. So you need to do some a little bit adjustment for here in the eyes region. So the modeling is almost perfect, and you need a little bit tweaking in the UV. So if you go to UV tech editing, you can see this is the actual UV map. If you press tab, you can see this is the actual UV map, and there is some area here. So that's not a problem. Actually, you have to create this area. So you have to paint the nostrils. You have to use in the Photoshop. You can export this image and use some clone stamp or paint tool to paint this area, and this area will be used for if your character is opening the mouth. So actually this is the default settings for a character head. Usually in the productions, usually people create the open mouth structure because they can add more details here, and if the character is lip syncing or doing some dialogue animation, so it need to be like this. And you can actually you can paint this area in Photoshop and remove these pixels and make it crystal clear here, all this. And the eyes also, you need to create you need to make a little bit adjustment here in the painting area, and you need to remove this eyelashes, and you have to add manual eyelashes. So that will be another tutorial, and you can paint all this area if you want. And you can see it's a little bit seam here. You can mask these areas out in the Photoshop. You can smooth this area. So you need to, wherever you need some adjustment, minor adjustment, you can create that. But it is pretty good model. So you can actually you can change this model, and you can move this, and you can, if you want to face clone or doing some dynamics or some effects, you can actually do this. And they provide face tracking, so you can so face tracker, but it's for nuke. But I think, see, you can face track, and you can add a lot of animations, effects, if you want to create some kind of particles and some bugs, some cyborg effect or anything. You can easily create, and you can compose it over your real footage. So that is very good plugin, and you can download it free and use it for commercial purpose, but it will be free until they release the fully production ready plugin. So keep watching from ZG.